everybody knows the Igbos have been marginalized. Successions of Nigerian governments have marginalized the Igbos. But we need to understand where this is coming from. When I say this, I will sound ethnical, but it is a fact. The Igbos are hated by majority of the rest of Nigerians. Okay, and I always say it is due to the fact of Igbos being very ambitious and sometimes overly ambitious, and so an Igbo man almost always prospers in everything he does, and so brings him jealousy from his counterparts. And so what usually happens is that they try to beat us down, right? And so that has also gone into government. The same reason we went to war is the same reason today the Igbos are being marginalized. The hate of the Igbo man. He's daring, he's got guts, and other people hate his guts, right? So in government, yes, we have been marginalized, but I'm not even going to make a case for appointments, because when you appoint an Igbo man, for example, you make him Minister of Health. You've appointed a Minister of Health for the whole of Nigeria, not just for the Igbos. He benefits from it because he earns a fat salary. So if you don't give us appointments, but you give people who will do the job appointments, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But then when you're talking about economics, when you're talking about infrastructure, when you're talking about development, when you're talking about roads, you're talking about airports, you're talking about, access to seaports, the things that are supposed to benefit a region economically, and you're not giving that to us, it is a clear case of marginalization. So we've seen that in different governments. Yes, whether you gave contracts to Igbo people and the money, it's a different thing. That's not marginalization to me. That's corruption. And so you who gave the contracts should arrest the people who you've given contracts and they haven't done them and prosecute them for being criminals. But marginalization is when you have given, for example, recently they declared about 3 airports in 3 different regions of Nigeria, special economic zones, and none was given to the southeast. That is a clear case of marginalization. Okay? You're talking about, seaports. You're talking about railroads. They did a magnificent, beautiful project that goes from Lagos to Ibadan. Beautiful, beautiful project, and I give them kudos for that. But now, the question is, Lagos to Ibadan and Lagos to the southeast, which is more beneficial to Nigeria's GDP? We all know the answer. So why choose Ibadan over the southeast? And since you decided to do it for Ibadan, why don't you do one for the southeast as well, where trade is the mainstay, and that trade is what holds up our economy? And now you've given out another contract from the north to Niger, and you sidetracked southeast that contributes majorly to the GDP of Nigeria. That's unfair. It's clear that they don't like us. It's clear that they know that if you give us a chance, we will prosper. And so they're trying to hold us down. At the government level, that's what they do.
One thing I've noticed, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it, obsession about the Igbos. Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first. If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions, coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country?
Well, it might, but you are, new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east or in the west? The answer is no. And if there are, there may be 10 laborers employed only.
Right? Now, your question is, who is marginalizing us? So I won't even go into our own brothers and sisters who aren't doing the things they're supposed to do. So let me stop there, and that's my answer to your question. I'm going to say this. You need to understand the nature of the Igbo man. An Igbo man is a nationalist. As a matter of fact, I've always said the Igbo man is the only true nationalist in Nigeria. The Igbo man is the one person that will go to the north, marry a wife from the north, build a house, make his investments there, doesn't discriminate. And so you find out that the Igbo money has actually done more good for Nigeria in general than it's done for the Southeast, right? Give that to the Igbo man. But the Igbo man is not a patriot. Igbo man is not, take it or leave it. People are going to curse me for saying this, but it is the truth. We need to change. The Igbo man is not patriotic in nature. And you would find out that generations...
To who exactly?
To himself. To his zone, to himself, to his people. Let's not generalize things. It will be wrong to say that the Igbo man is not patriotic. Majority of Igbo people are not patriotic. Okay. But we still have good Igbo people who will give their lives for what they believe in. That politicians before the war were better. The generations of Opala, of Desa Mbekwe, Jim Wobodo. Look at the roads that Jim Wobodo did in Enugu. A lot of them were still good until Sullivan gave out contracts to do those roads. And the roads they did after that did not last 3 years. Now, if we are patriotic in nature, which, for example, I'm a patriotic Igbo man and Nigerian, take it or leave it, because I was raised by a father who was principled. I can tell you that since 2003, I have not dropped a wrap of sweet on the street. If I don't find a bin to put it, I put it in my pocket until I get home and I put it there. It's part of patriotism, because I don't want to be part of messing up the environment. I can assure you that at 12 midnight, if I have to be outside on the road at 12 midnight and the traffic light flags red, I will stand there until it turns green. There's nobody behind me. There's nobody in front of me. But it is my conscience that tells me this is the right thing to do. Majority of Igbo people lack that. And that is why, what's his name? The Minister of Infrastructure has been given that position. But he cares about himself. He knows his boss doesn't like us. And so he wouldn't want to be hated by his boss. And so he wouldn't make suggestions knowing the mindset of the man he works for. But if he was a patriotic Igbo man, he would say, we've done for the South. We've done for the North. It's only right we do for the Southeast. So let's not even go there. So that ambitious nature of the Igbo man makes him a lot of times put even his own father behind his own profit. And that's why they say, Nibo Fulego Len. Because we've heard stories of people who have taken their family members, loved ones, and done money rituals with them. But if you were patriotic and you thought about the well-being of your family, you think about the well-being of the Southeast, you think about the well-being of the state where you live, then your actions will be tailored to ensure that you advance the cause of your people and not just about yourself. And so that's why our politicians have been given projects to do roads and they never did it. Because they're not patriotic people, they're not thinking about the region, they're thinking about themselves. And so they have always advanced their own personal causes and forgotten about the region. And that's why we're where we are today. I talked about ambition, the ambitious nature of the Igbo man. I think when it comes to our ambitions leading us to kill our consciences, I think the Igbo man is worse hit than the rest of Nigeria. Because in the Southwest, people still want to, okay, I'll do the job, I'll chop some money, but I'll do the job. right? In the north, it's the same thing. I'll eat some money, but I'll still do the job. But Igbo man wants to make it really fast. So if it means not doing this job, and I settle this guy and settle this guy here and there, and then I pocket the rest of it, then fine, that's it. But you see, the problem is, if there is no oversight function on the part of the people who give out this contract, I have said this, with you before, I believe. When he comes back, I'm going to ask him, or if I can go tell him. And then in any case, where's the change? It is my responsibility to ensure that you do what I've asked you to do. And so if I'm not doing that, something is wrong.
For clarity's sake, are you saying the Igbos are not holding their leaders accountable?
No, we're not.
Yes.
We're not.
We're not.
We're not. It's the same reason. Only Igbo doesn't want trouble. I think it's the war that actually puts us in that corner. Only Igbo does not, an Igbo man doesn't want trouble. He doesn't, the same reason we fear the police to death. The Igbo man, you will be right, and you know that the police officer is not doing the right thing, but you would rather give money. So
how then do we find the balance?
We need to get back to who we are. Conscience, values.
Okay.
We've lost our values. And so how do you talk about value if you don't have conscience? Now, you see why the white man is different. It's definitely different from the black person. A white man is willing to die for what he believes in. Martin Luther King said, if a man that will not die for something is not fit to live. If you believe in it, if your conviction is that this is the right thing, your conscience should be able to push you to be ready to die for that cause because it's the right thing. But what has happened is that we've been browbeaten so much that Igbo man would rather close your eyes to it. No, we don't have to close our eyes to it. If we keep closing our eyes, then things will never work. If our governors aren't doing well, we should be able to come together responsibly and demand accountability. It's not every time we have to hit the street and start burning things. That's even an irresponsible way of doing things. Okay? Imagine if every professional in the Southeast decides, okay, from today on, things are going to change. And so there's a cause that we need to challenge. All of us dressed in our, responsible clothing for that. What journalists, police officers, no matter what your profession is, we come out and we march to the government hand and we say, we want accountability. Before they shoot that bullet, they will have to look at the caliber of people they want to shoot. Reverend fathers are wearing their regalia, bishops are there. And we are responsibly demanding accountability. And we make sure that the media is there to air what is going on. Then these people will know that the region has changed. But the problem is that Ngiyonwa is going to demand accountability. If I give you 100,000 naira now to go and buy drinks for Omonna, are you going to actually spend 100,000 buying drinks? Or are you going to buy drinks for 50,000 and pocket the other 50,000? Now, if you're not righteous in yourself, you don't have any right to demand righteousness from another person. And so the problem is that in the Southeast, righteousness has been thrown in the gutters. Our fathers were not like that. That's one. Two, there is an allowance in the Constitution for you to call back public servants who aren't doing, senators who are not doing their jobs. But the problem is that in Nigeria, nobody respects Constitution. And so that is why one of the ways forward for Nigeria is that we must strengthen our institutions. The police force must be strengthened. The police force must be funded and trained. I said it, that if you don't get the police force right, nothing will work in Nigeria. Because it's the policeman, the police force that will put the senators and the legislators and every other person in check. So first of all, I have said, we must change the system of policing in Nigeria. Fund them properly and re-employ people. And let the least requirement for, to employ a police officer be HND. The least, let it be HND. That everybody that will work in the police force must have at least his HND. When you do that, you pay them well. Pay them enough salary to be able to rent houses like every other citizen. Drive good cars and pay their children's school fees. Then they will not be interested in the bribes. Then they can really and actually enforce the law. This will work both nationally and regionally.